We shift gears now to a great patriot being persecuted. I mean, he's such an icon, but he's so mild-mannered and mildly spoken that he never puts on airs. And I've been working on a JFK documentary for 5 years, but the rabbit hole goes so deep, I never finished it. But we're going to put it out. I just don't want to put crud out. And that's why more and more it's kind of like, not even writer's block. You know, I kind of worked on Police State 4, but some of the other guys really produced it. Burma's put out his Invisible Empire, which is great. But it's been over a year since I really made a film. And it's because I'm doing all these other videos and special reports, and we've shot over 50 interviews and never put them in films. That's why I've just been putting them on prisonplanet.tv. But Robert Groden was the House Assassination Committee photographic expert on staff. He, of course, was the main consultant on Oliver Stone's JFK film. He's the guy that got the Zapruder film and first leaked it. And you'll go out there to Dealey Plaza, and they'll allow homeless people, literally most of them schizophrenic, I mean, I've talked to them, sell newspapers, whatever they want, you know, tell you wild stories. Some of them are nice. Some of them are clearly out of their mind. I've seen them fighting with each other. Cops leave them alone. Robert Groden comes and tries to talk to people. They slap him in handcuffs. And, you know, you will not. And by the way, his old associate, who's the head of the book a depository building, he told Ventura that he personally doesn't believe the official story because he used to be with Groden. But a bizarre admission when even on the JFK show of Conspiracy Theory with Ventura 2 weeks ago, even the establishment mouthpiece has to say, well, I personally don't really believe the official story. I mean, whoa. But here's the issue. He's had to sue them. They will not allow him to go out and talk to the public in America. And they selectively do it. And this is in Dallas, my hometown. I was born in Parkland, where they took Kennedy and threw the fake bullet on the stretcher. But just amazing. So Robert Groden, JFKmurder.com. Is that the best website to give out, Robert?
Yes, it is, Alan. Robert Groden, it's just www.jfkmurder.com.
John, up there at the network, how's Robert Groden's audio there for you? Yeah, it's very muffled. Just try to speak up as much as you can, Robert. We had you on a few years ago, and it was crystal clear.
Okay.
Okay, now you're pretty clear now. Go ahead and start over.
Yeah, the website is www.jfkmurder.com. JFK Murder is one word. And anytime that there's anything new relating to all of this, I will definitely put it right on there.
Well, if anybody out there, you probably are the expert. Of course, also Jim Mars is a great expert. He also consulted on the film JFK. You testified to the House committee, to one of the committees, that you thought E. Howard Hunt was a prime suspect. He sued the Spotlight when they said he was one of the shooters, and then he lost. And then he told his son, deathbed confession. We've aired that here. We aired the video first. Rolling Stone carried the text first. Coast to Coast had the audio first. Did a great job. Ian Punnett, I believe, was the first to have that audio. But what an amazing revelation. What's your view on that little tidbit?
Well, back when I testified before the Rockefeller Commission in 1975, I testified that I believed that E. Howard Hunt was part of this, that he was in Dealey Plaza, and of course they all laughed. Now that he confessed to it before he passed away, it changes everything. Because if he's involved in it, the people around him could very well be involved with it as well. That includes Nixon and the Watergate crew.
Well, we have the photographs that look just like him, and we have the tramps being picked up behind the grassy knoll. It's just incredible. We've seen other evidence come out. What we had major government laboratories a few years ago, even the Dallas Morning News, they tested the bullet. What did they find, Robert?
Well, the thing is, there were so many bullets that were found. They all disappeared except one, and the one that we still have is the so-called magic bullet. The bullet that was supposed to have gone through both President Kennedy and Governor Connolly, which is ludicrous. It's a fairy tale. It never happened. Any number of things are possible. The single bullet theory is absolutely impossible. It could could not have happened. And the testing of the stuff that you see on the Discovery Channel on their horrible, dishonest documentaries, they all represent things that are not true. They have the president sitting in the wrong position. They have the bullets entering both the president and Governor Connolly in the wrong places, and this becomes their fact. They show us this silly.
Well, that latest Discovery Channel is produced by a guy who wanted me to be in the last episode. I refused. But it's produced by a guy who openly makes fun of anybody criticizing any corruption and does nothing but specialize in debunking, and the bullets aren't fired from the same spot. I mean, it's all quackery.
You're absolutely right. I would have nothing to do with anything relating to the Discovery Channel. I think they've done 5 or 6 different documentaries. I call them mockumentaries, dealing with different aspects of the Kennedy case, and every one of them is dishonest. I mean, they're not even close to the truth. And the last one, which was called Inside the Target Car, I was actually there when they did it, and they had Mrs. Kennedy sitting slightly behind the president.
Yeah, that's the one with the jelly head with the green slime.
There you go. That's the one.
Yeah, they wanted me to be in that, and I said, no thanks, pal.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't have anything to do with it either, but what I did do is I went behind the stockade fence where they were filming from, and I showed them the photographs that they were having the people within the car sitting in the wrong position. They told me to mind my own business, and this includes Gary Mack. He was back there with them. And I told them, I showed them the photographs that Mrs. Kennedy was sitting slightly in front of the president, not slightly behind him. And I didn't know why they were doing that. But we found out when they ran the show. What they had Gary Mack saying was that if the bullet had come from the grassy knoll, we would have had a dead Mrs. Kennedy because the bullet would have gone through the president's head and hit her. Well, that's because they had her sitting in the wrong place. And they knew it.
And we know they know because you were there. What do you think of the curator? It was once one of your colleagues telling Ventura 2 weeks ago that he doesn't even really believe the official story.
Well, he's told me that several times through the years. But the thing is that for him to say it on public television or shows shown to the public on television was absolutely amazing to me that he would admit it. But he did. I was surprised.
I think people just can't go along with propaganda. It's like Geraldo Rivera says 9/11 could be an inside job. Andrew Napolitano came out and said it's like the JFK assassination, couldn't happen the way we were told. I mean, I think people can't handle it anymore, Robert. People can see America dying. What do you think of the TSA putting their hands down people's pants and Walmart announcing Big Brother screens with Homeland Security saying spy on other shoppers? I mean, it's almost like it's a cartoon of a ridiculous police state. It's so over the top.
That it is. That it truly is. The things you mentioned, Homeland Security. One of the times that I was harassed in Dealey Plaza, it wasn't the Dallas police. It was Homeland Security, and they showed up with machine guns. And they said I was a terrorist because I was going against the official fiction of what was.
Okay, excuse me. You're a very well-respected researcher. You don't lie. I didn't know this. You should have contacted me, but I actually heard you lost my number or couldn't get in contact. And normally you have your assistant with you. I hope you got photos or witnesses. I know you're suing one group over their discrimination, but let's hold the horses right there. When did this happen? What exactly happened? This is getting really dangerous.
Well, the thing with Homeland Security was about a half a dozen years ago. That was a while ago. Everything that's happened... Well,
I don't care, though. I didn't know this. So this is 6 years ago, 2004 or so. Tell us what happened, Robert.
Well, the police had been harassing me one after the other, but what was happening is the Sixth Floor Museum kept calling the police. And apparently, somewhere along the line, they ended up getting in touch with Homeland Security. And these guards came up with these helmets on and machine guns and these gray outfits with black writing on it, said Homeland Security on the back. And they told me I was a terrorist, and they forced me to leave the plaza.
Well, that's right. They don't mind the homeless people, but when you're there eloquently laying out the facts, they can't stand it in America. How dare you think you can stand at a park in a public sidewalk off a road and talk to Americans? What do you think this is, America, Robert Groden? How dare you? You know, you may get to testify before Congress or work for Congress. You may get to consult on big Hollywood films, but you don't have the freedom to sit down. Now, it's been in the news that you've been arrested before. Tell us what this harassment has led up to. Now you're having to sue them.
Well, 12 years ago, they started to harass me. I had been there for 3 years, and then all of a sudden the police started showing up on a daily basis, and then for a while almost on an hourly basis, to kick me out of the park. And 7 years ago, they were going to do it again, and my attorney contacted the city and said if they didn't stop, that we would sue. And an agreement was made with the city attorney's office that they would leave me alone if I would not sue. So I dropped it. I didn't sue. They kept their word for 7 years. And then all of a sudden, back in July, they started up again. They showed up. I sold one magazine. One magazine. They threw on the handcuffs and threw me in jail. I was bailed out by a friend of mine. And they didn't tell me what they were arresting me for. They did not read me my rights. They told me that I was being arrested for vending without a permit. Well, there are no permits. They don't exist. Not only will they not give a permit, they won't even give an application for a permit. So I had to have enough.
And they allow all the other people to be there selling stuff.
Oh, I was the only one who was arrested. All the other people that were out there selling garbage newspapers that have nothing of any real value in them, they were left alone. Some of them were ticketed, but nobody else was arrested. So anyway, that's what they did. They threw me in jail, and when I got out, I had had enough, and I went back to my attorney, and we sued the city. We sued the city for First, Fourth, Fifth, and 14th Amendment violations and for false arrest. And that's coming to court in 3 days. The first of it, the municipal charge against me is 3 days, and then after that is the federal case for me against the city.
Okay, and again, your phone's fading a bit, Robert, so speak right into that telephone.
Okay.
What is the specifics of this case? Is this first case their case against you, or is it your case against them on the civil case in the local court? Whose case is this coming up Thursday?
Well, the first one is the municipal case, which is them against me, the Dallas police versus me. And depending on what happens with that, will lead the direction for the rest of it. The federal case is the big one because, you know, if I don't stop them now, if they're able to get away with this now, we'll never be able to talk about the Kennedy assassination where people come to learn about it. The sixth floor will have won. I just can't let that happen.
And then that way, they get to sit there distributing their lies to the school children and everybody else, while the director of it doesn't even really believe the story and admits it on TV. And then how dare you try to talk to people out there on the street?
Well, nobody who works for the Sixth Floor Museum believes the lie, but that's what they've got to do. They've got to sell that lie. If you have any question as to their point of view, just go into their bookstore and try to find any book that even admits the possibility of a conspiracy. You're not going to find them. They're censored, every one of them.
Well, Robert, here's the good news. I was talking to CBC, and they said they found the same thing. 85 to 90% of people in scientific polls, but also on the street that they talk to, do not believe the official story. And the average is about 90% or 89% from what I've seen. Some polls, 92, 95% don't believe it. And so they can sit there and put their lies out. Nobody, except for brain-dead cowards, are buying into it.
Well, I see that every weekend. I've been down in Dealey Plaza now. No, I've been working on the Kennedy case for 47 years. I've been in Dealey Plaza now for 15 years. And I can tell you that between 95 and 99% of the people know that something is crooked. We talk to everyone about this. Virtually nobody believes it. And when you find one person in every couple of thousand who backs the official lie, you find that they really know nothing about the case. You ask them specific questions about any of the evidence, they don't know, and they don't care to know. That's been the problem.
Now, when is your civil case coming up where you're suing them?
That's sometime after the municipal case is resolved. So much of what happens in the federal case relates to what happens in the civil case that's been put off by the court until after decisions are made on this.
Stay there, JFKmurder.com. They don't want you to get this information. He worked on the case from day one. He saw the photographs. He's got them. He's got incredible information. We'll talk about it in the final segment coming up. I apologize to those other callers. Call tomorrow. I'll get you at the head of the line.